I'll note that we currently have a quorum present. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 present. Right now, I'm missing Mark Poulos, Cindy Beauregard, and Christine Nastasio. The voting members. Also, Susan Lassard is online. Bob Sapensky is here, and plus all of our, our important, vendors. We also have our soon to be, I don't know if you're technically the purchasing agent yet, but the purchasing agent to be is here.
Close.
Yeah, close enough. He will be, is also with us. So let's rock and roll. So we do have a quorum present. Approval of minutes, 4/21/26. Got to get a motion, please. Moved by Pete, second by Sheila. Any additions, corrections, or deletions to the minutes? Have we received any?
No, I need to fix the header. I noticed as of today.
Okay.
But other than that.
So with the fixed header. Anyone else? Any additions, corrections? Hearing none?
Sheila?
I have just
Oh.
one day when you're completed with so many.
Oh, sometimes it does.
I know, some days it.
All right, I'll fix that. Very good.
I used to do fast keys with Word and stuff. And
Nice.
I, hit do. So I didn't have to type the names out all the time. I spent years as a recording secretary for you. So I've done my share of minutes. Back in the day. So Greg Balassi, for the minutes.
Yes.
Mark Poulos is here. We're doing the minutes for 4/21.
Yep.
Let's start over here. Zeta?
Yes.
Pete?
Yes.
Pete?
Yes.
Sheila?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Yes.
Mark Poulos, yes. 9-0. Okay. Is there anyone here for public comment? I don't see anyone in the audience, or necessarily online. Anyone else? Public comment. Anyone else? Public comment. Here and none, we'll move on. I did want to report on subcommittee actions. We did meet earlier this month. There were 3 change orders that were needed to be expedited, that the committee reviewed. At least myself and Mark wasn't able to get there. Me and Bill Hull reviewed and agreed with. So do you have those here? You know what? I have them queued up. Hang on. I'm queued up on my stupid phone.
They were all for Sam.
Yeah.
I remember.
One was playground,
Yeah.
preschool playground preparation.
Actually for all the playgrounds. So
Oh, okay, so that's,
basically the playgrounds were originally scheduled just to get engineered wood fiber at the base of the playground. And a request came from Matt Brown, the district facilities director, to add rubber mats on top of the engineered wood fiber, just so that, the playground remains ADA compliant. Otherwise, you'd have to go out and rake it until it's flat every time that it gets rutted out. So that should,
That was $49,075. Adding mats to the playground, that's PCO 79. Then selected tree removal. So we were adding more. They were similar to what we didn't have in Greenville. I identified some more trees that needed to be removed, and in order to get that moving so that it didn't interfere with other parts of the project, we needed to get in there and get that done. That was $20,475. PCO 81 signage modification. This was for $7,955. So don't get that near me. God, you're trying to kill me. So modifies some interior signs at the request of Norwich Public Schools. So long lead time on signage, early approval, ensure delivery and installation before school opening in August. That one's coming out of owner's contingency. The second one, 80, is coming out of allowance, and the first one will result in a cost increase for Don's construction will be taken from owner's contingency. That's the big on the maps. All right. Are there any questions about that? There's three. There's three. That the committee, that the subcommittee authorized. All right. CSG. Let me, we got everything queued up there. Let me, hang on, give me 1 minute, Mike. Okay, hit it.
All right, for Greenville, we've been working with Downs on the schedule adjustment change order. I was hoping to have that for presentation tonight. We just are waiting a few more comments back from Downs as to some comments that we had provided to them that need to be addressed. We're working on getting the topping off beam signing ceremony coordinated for Greenville as we get closer. You know, that last beam is going to go in the building D portion of the building. The date right now, the foundations haven't been placed. So, you know, as we get a little closer to when that beam will be placed, we'll start coordinating with you guys as to a time to get that beam signing ceremony completed. The ceremonial beam is on site. So if people wanted to come over and start signing that, you know, that would be fine. It's just right in front of the Downs trailer. You can either reach out to me and I can coordinate a time for you guys to get over there and sign that. State payment request number 13 for Greenville has been submitted. It's awaiting approval at this time by the state. State payment request 14 for Stanton has been submitted, also awaiting approval. This month we issued additional FF&E POs. There's still issues with 2 packages that need to be purchased that we're trying our best to work through with DRA. Hope to have those resolved and in place for the next building committee meeting, for action at the next building committee meeting. We assisted the Norwich Public Schools with a virtual tour. Susan, I believe, led the virtual tour. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, actually, the principal, Carolyn, is on it, and,
Yeah, and Carolina did, but we're still working on editing it and it should be up and ready for to put on the city website, Norwich Public School website, and we'll send it out to all staff members as well.
Cool. I like that.
A touch a truck event for the students at STEM has been scheduled for June 8th between the hours of 9:30 and 11. There'll be some equipment from construction project as well as some other city agencies that we're working on coordinating to get the touch a truck event to happen. Bi-weekly move meetings are ongoing with the Stanton staff in preparation for the move at the end of the school year. Today, our staff met with the mover to go through the building and see the belongings that have been packed, just to get a lay of the land and the access in and out of the building to assist with the move. And the moving of materials to temp storage is scheduled to begin on June 19th at the end of school. The temp storage location will be Teachers Middle School. We've already coordinated that with Matt Brown in the event that the new Stanton building isn't ready to receive those items. And then for both projects, we provided more information for the mayor's May newsletter. And there's going to be a meeting on May 21st to discuss further website information. You know, we're working with the city on creating a school construction website. There'll be all the projects there. You'll be able to click through, see photos, and get information on the different projects. As it relates to the budget over at Stanton, we've expended $30,642,234.95. Over at Greenville, we've expended $22,855,929.33. The phase 2 projects, Uncas and Moriarty, for both projects. Tree clearing, grubbing, and temporary fence work is in progress at both. I actually toured both those sites today and they're looking great. The trailers were also delivered to the Moriarty project. Those are in progress. It appears of having a temporary electrical added to those trailers, but they have been delivered, set up, skirting, blocked and leveled and everything. The permit drawing set has been provided to all the city agencies for permitting. CSG staff is working with the various departments in ONG on getting owner authorization forms, other forms that need to be signed in preparation for those permits to fulfill all the city requirements. Our staff has attended scope review meetings with ONG. I believe that those are finally complete.
Almost.
Okay. We got to be closing in on the last one or two at this point, but those have been going on for a couple months now. We were hoping to have the final GMP ready for delivery at this building committee meeting. That's what I had reported out last meeting. Unfortunately, just due to the volume scope reviews that needed to still be completed and some other work with the teachers project that didn't end up coming to fruition. So we will have the GMP, Dan, for the June building committee meeting. We still need to establish a date and time for the groundbreaking ceremony with your folks' input for both Uncas and Moriarty. State payment request 4 has been submitted for both projects. We're awaiting approval on those. Tomorrow we have a meeting scheduled with the Norwich Housing Authority to discuss the project with Jeff Arm, the executive director for the Uncas project, because they're one of the closest neighbors there. So we just want them to be aware of all the activity that's going on and see the site logistics plans. And then I jumped ahead, but the Moriarty trailers haven't. What you'll see for the Uncas and Moriarty budget is we've updated the budget at this point to reflect the savings and show what we are what ONG is projecting the GMPs to be. And you'll see in the future slide that I've made some adjustments there. Right now, it looks like the GMPs for Uncas is going to be around $68,784,022, which is down from the original grant application budget by $6 million and change. And then at Moriarty, again, the budget's down by about 2.4 million there, and the revised project budget will be just right around 71,400,000. And paid to date on both projects for Uncas, we've expended $3,367,686, and over at Moriarty, $3,300,786.56. Moving on to the phase 3 projects, and I do have some updates that changed from the time that this was sent to all you folks at the meeting now. The design development phase has commenced. We've been attending meetings with DRA to review the design development effort. The SD estimate reconciliation has been completed for the teachers middle school project. The project is currently over the grant application budget by just under $11 million. And, you know, in coordination with all the project stakeholders, DRA and ONG will work through that overage. The overage is largely due to additional square footage that was added to the programming phase to the project. So we're working on making reductions to that, as well as looking at any and all possible value engineering options to bring that budget back in line. You know, we had about 5 or 6 meetings last week. Another meeting this Monday to review with the full team, and those meetings will continue until we're able to get that overage down. The last item is unfortunately the one that changed. I was in receipt of draft special legislation for the central office project. I received a phone call about an hour and a half ago from Representative Wilson that the draft legislation as it relates to central office did not make the final legislative package. The delegation and with the legislator will be working on resubmitting that for the next legislative session. And, when I get more information, I'll be able to report more back on that. One good piece of news that came out of the phone call with Representative Wilson was that the 80% funding was approved for teachers middle school. So, a little news that the central office was pushed, and a little good news that we got the increased reimbursement for the teachers middle school project.
Mike, just to go off of that too, I spoke with Representative Wilson right before you. And we have some ideas that we're talking about that we'll look into. We know the adult ed's going in there. We also talked about fitting NTA in there at some point, and I know you and I had just preliminary discussions about that before I even talked to Representative Wilson today. He thinks that might help, so we need to at least explore those two ideas. I mean, that one idea of adding Norwich Transition Academy. So just some things to think about.
Okay.
But isn't there a problem because that wasn't included in the original bond?
I don't think
Public bond.
it shouldn't pose an issue to add an educational program in, provided that it fits within the funding authorization. However, removing something that was in the bond ordinance, I think would be a problem. But I'm not bond counsel, so.
Yeah,
I would have
I would wait before you.
Yeah, I would have to check with them on all that.
Because we had an issue already when I was asking about some other stuff.
Okay.
So bond counsel said, no.
Yeah, Mark, Representative Wilson's gonna obviously look into it. We have some, time, but we're definitely at least exploring the
I mean, absolutely,
Options.
absolutely. Obviously, I mean, we have a little more time with Huntington than we do with teachers, so hopefully we'll be able to get that done. All right. Anything else, Mike?
Then this is the master budget analysis. Basically, what's been reflected is the updated SD estimate cost for teachers middle school. And what we included in the GMP category in the italics for Uncas and Moriarty are the projected GMP values. One thing to mention to everyone is that while we're still showing, an overall program contingency, all of the savings that were received through the projected GMP value have been extracted out of the Uncas and Moriarty budgets and moved down to the owner's contingency. So that helps with some of the overage of teachers. However, we're working very hard to reduce the cost as much as humanly possible on that teacher's project to get it to fit within the grant authorization amount. Right now we're still just under 11 million over the grant application estimate amount. So we're working on, reducing that as much as humanly possible.
And the main reason was because square footage had
Yep.
increased?
Yeah, through the programming effort, a lot of square footage was added back to the building through some of the discussions. So we're working on finding the square footage that was added and, doing it in a way that works with the building design that's been completed to date. And all at the same time, trying to keep this thing on schedule.
Yep. Come, Mayor, don't run away.
All right, if you can go to the next slide. So the next slide has been slightly updated based on, to be honest with you, the updates that were made to this are all related to Huntington Central Office.
Obsolete.
Yeah, which the legislative approval wasn't received. So that the draft legislation had us resubmitting the grant application at the end of September for consideration. As that legislation didn't pass, basically everything will essentially potentially push out based on receipt of the grant. One thing to mention is that at the point that we're at now, the numbers that were being used for the special legislation were numbers that were presented or were provided last year. So there's been further escalation since then. So I think it'll be prudent to, when the authorization is finally provided, to re-benchmark that budget just to look at it in total to see where we stand. And then the only other item really worth discussion at this point would be the effort that I have shown in this green box here, which is pre-design. If everyone recalls, we had added destructive investigation to both the RFP for the construction manager as well as the architect. As you know, Huntington will not be in session this summer. That would be a great opportunity to do some of that destructive testing to get us a better idea as to what's in that building. Should the building committee have an appetite to do that in advance of submitting a grant application?
I will, I mean, remind everybody that the money is authorized in the bond. So the issue is how it gets paid, how the thing gets paid for, you know? So are we getting reimbursement from the state on it and stuff? Worst comes to worst, I mean, we could absolutely move forward on it if we absolutely had to. But obviously we'd want to make sure that, you know, we're set for reimbursement. And if we got to postpone to get that, then that's fine. So we'll do what we got to do there, I think. That's what I'm thinking.
And then again, that plays into why we need to get the overage for teachers down as much as possible.
Obviously. Yeah, because that, obviously he's taken a big bite out of project contingency, so. That's too close for comfort at this point. So. All right, anything else there, Mike?
No.
All right, that was good. At least for this part anyway.
Just before you go up, so you were looking at starting to demo Stanton in August. It's
Barring, the demo of Stanton would actually begin, I have it right in the middle of June, because based on the way that this chart is shown, it would be right after the end of school. As soon as school ends, we'll vacate as much of anything that needs to be salvaged from that building, meaning the teachers' belongings. We've already arranged a temporary storage location at Teachers Middle School for the gap period if it's needed. If the new Stanton building's ready, we'll bring the stuff right from old Stanton into new Stanton to be stored for the summer. But, you know, in order to keep the project on, you know, Downs' construction schedule, our effort will be to get that building emptied out of anything that needs to be salvaged as quick as humanly possible, then get going on the demo.
So you might find yourself in a situation where you're putting the last finishing touch on the new building and emptying out and getting ready to demo the existing building at the same time.
Oh, the new building won't be finished before we pull all the stuff out of it.
That was my next question.
Yeah. I mean, it'll finish in time for the opening of the
Yeah.
school year, but in order to stay on schedule, we would need to empty that building, turn it over to Downs for demolition, you know, while the other building is being, the finishing touches as you will.
Wow.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
just then the plan is that the building will be down before the school year starts. It's just hard to see.
That would be a question for my demo duration, maybe. I have it out to,
I can't see. the-
yeah, I have the demolition
November.
out to October. I believe there'll still be demo going on.
Well, you would need a
Might
portion.
be demolished. By the time students come back to start school, we'll still be cleaning up some.
We're going to say that the bulk, I mean.
Yeah.
Well, bulk.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna need that building to be out of the way for student drop off and entrance into the building.
I'll just talk a little bit about that because we've been, Eileen, I think Eileen is on here and we've been having meetings and I think we're in a good place for that. The one thing I want to bring up everyone's attention is the parking was going to be a problem. I believe we have about 35 spots once school opens. So I met with the synagogue president and we sat down with Bob and a few of us and we're waiting for them to sign it. So because we're going to need that, they have 200 parking spaces there and we're going to need that for the entire 26-27 school year. So grateful that they're working with us on this. So we're just waiting, like I said, for it to be signed and we should be good for that. But we went over all of this, where the buses are going to go in the meantime and where parent drop off and all of that. So we have a solid plan for that. Stacy Gould's been instrumental in supporting us at the synagogue for the parking spots.
Yeah.
Mark, this is Carl Klein. Stacy Gold reached out to me, the purchasing agent. There's one little bit that is left out for snow removal. Their lawyer came back and wanted to know how we were gonna handle that. So I was waiting for Bob to get back to see if we wanted to do a memo of understanding or if we added into this contract.
I don't know who's talking right now. I'm sorry.
Our new purchasing agent.
Oh, hi. So we are actually, what are they concerned about with the snow
Snow
removal?
removal
Snow removal.
What's their concern about it though?
is gonna be in charge of snow removal while we're using the parking lot.
Yeah, we talked to them about that. So we're taking care of all snow removal and we're actually putting white lines. We're fixing the white lines for the parking spaces as well for them. So that was something that we talked about. We'll be taking care of all the snow removal for the entire winter.
We would like to see that in writing.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Simple enough. Anything else regarding CSG's report? Hearing none, we move on. Who's up next? DRA. Hang on, let me close this one up. I'm gonna open this up. See. You know what? Heck with it, I'll leave this up. I'll do it in a PDF. All right.
Good evening, everybody. Happy first day of summer. We're going to report out on phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, starting with phase 1, Greenville and Stanton. Go to the next. Our construction administration activities, stay with it. Key activities for Stanton beyond the weekly site visits, field reports, that type of thing. Submittals, specialty ceilings, emergency door decal numbering, toilet and dressing compartments were submittals looked at for Stanton recently in Greenville. Similar activities, but then in terms of key submittals, area D, which is the gymnasium up at the upper level, steel erection drawings, millwork shop drawings, FRP panel drawings, and then area D concrete rebar. So those are some of the things. In recent reports out to you, I was highlighting DRA's weekly architects field reports, but today I'm highlighting CES as our mechanical engineer. So they've been going through the building as well, able to do reports for us and identify areas for fix or conformance, that type of thing. So just a sample of that. And then site observation notes from SLR. This happens to be at the Greenville site. This is an area directly behind the kindergarten wing and some of the ledge that's outside of that as it transitions up the hill. So if you go to the next slide, please. And by the way, I mentioned SLR. John Hammer is here this evening, is interested in this. John's been very active throughout this. So that transition, if you'll recall, when we first looked at, you come into the Golden Street entrance, there's a lower plateau, there's an upper plateau, and the area that we were interested in was that transition. How do you get up the approximately 28 feet? This was a diagram that we shared with you probably now 2 years ago, where we looked at the stacking of the building as an academic organization and then across a bridge to that gymnasium, to that upper tier. If you go to the next slide, this is a drawing that John and his team put together. We initially, actually, if you go back one, Mark, I'm sorry.
You're fired.
We envisioned 3 equal steps moving, to make that transition up the 28 feet. If you go to the next slide, this is an actual plan that John's team did at SLR, looking at those 3 walls that we were considering, 4A, 4B, 4C, 4A being at the top, and then down to 4C, which is down at the grade level. as we're looking at it, the consideration was, might we be able to get rid of wall 4B? And that's what this study is all about. There's some advantage in it. By not having a step there, it allows this to slope back at a lesser rate. It opens up more volume of light, et cetera. So we think it helps in terms of as it sits next to the skin of the building down in this area. You go to the next slide. This is kind of a rendering of that. Again, by John's team. We'll call them visualizations. There we go. So as you're looking at it, the gym is the brick wall off to the side, and that's where the connector comes across and makes connection. The upper railing abutting this is the playground area. These are 6-foot high chain link fencing across the entirety of it. When you get out to the basketball court area, it's up to 10 feet high. Our typical walls are set with a 4-foot high guardrail along them. But what this was doing was exploring the rock that does expose itself and come out and expressing it as something that rather than cover it and try to build a wall over it to allow it to remain and to then naturally seed and get some growth in those areas that doesn't have the exposed rock. We have a couple wall studies down here, just giving you a sense, looking straight at it, one down the skin of that wall system with that layering. We do have a row of trees planted in front of it. And we did have opportunity to work with Norwich Public Schools, the facility department with Matt Brown had opportunity to look at it, actually came out to the site with our CA lead, Bonnie Peters, reviewed it, got comfortable with the idea of how it might be maintained, what's the schedule on it, that type of thing. And then Superintendent Lassard, along with Matt Brown, in a meeting to kind of review it. And they feel it's a good way to go. We're recommending it and to bring it to the committee's attention as a consideration.
So it gives you more of like a 30-degree slope as opposed to a 45.
Yeah, I mean, you could envision a second wall kind of tiered in here
Right.
At about it's 30 feet overall, so it's like about 10 feet in.
Right, because if you have 3 equidistant, you'd have a 45-degree
Correct.
slope. And this way with the longer spread, it'd be more.
It's lesser, and there's that deeper separation between the back wall and the foreground area.
Right.
Any questions on that or thoughts? Okay.
So the question is money. Well,
At
so
this-
you're deleting one wall
Right.
and all of the work that needs to go to anchoring that or in the ground,
Yep.
right? But you're changing the overall composition, which obviously has an upcharge, right?
We don't have it fully vetted at this juncture. We want to introduce it as a concept. Well, I won't speak to it. I think that we're safer not speaking to it in terms of where it lands. If it's a significant upcharge, we would certainly go back to this. We don't see it as that. We see it possibly as heading in the other direction, relieving us of some of the issues associated with that third wall construction.
Well,
Yeah, and I guess that's where I'm going with it. I mean, you know, the reconfiguration might have an upcharge to it, but the fact is we're deleting an entire wall structure.
There's a lot of analysis that is going into
Yeah,
this
but then you've got
and actively working at it.
You've got
So-
a higher back wall and now hydrostatic pressure is not going to figure in.
Trust me, there's teams of people working at this
Right.
in terms of just trying to get to the bottom of what's something that we could bring forward with some sense of certainty that it's an improvement. And then secondly, we'll come with the numbers once we can fully shake them all I think that's something I see CSG nodding. That's, we're following lead on this, so.
What was the genesis of this? Whose idea was this?
It was some from the Downs team, certainly a lot from SLR's team in terms of just studying the pros and cons of both approaches. CSG has spent a lot of time in meetings on this. Our team has been out there and, as I said, ultimately wrapping it out to Norwich Public Schools to make sure that, you know, as a final recommendation, they were comfortable with it.
Then you also have the added advantage of, by having that raw rock face, you don't have to do as much preparation for that in middle wall, which you're eliminating.
Mhm.
So you're going to save on labor.
Yep.
But the fact that it's only 30 feet deep, the deleting, really like the idea of deleting one of the walls. And I mean, the rock, you know, the ledge in the ground has been a bane to this project, but at least here it celebrates it a little bit, right?
Well, I have to say, you know, John,
If you will.
John's team did a heroic stab at it here. It doesn't quite do it justice, but you know.
Oh, no, that's actual image of the real rock. It really is, not even being sarcastic about it. I believe that that's actually what the rock looks like.
It's a photograph of it.
You didn't spot me.
Well, but the fact that it's framed
We've
by
got
the
enough
more
rock on
regular
it.
shapes, right? And it's completely irregular. You know,
We think
works.
it's a net
Great
positive.
contrast, yeah.
Yeah,
And it brings some visual interest to that area too.
Yep.
At least nobody falls over the fence and
And it-
lands on it.
And it'll be there as a testimony to what we will do.
Yes.
That covers it. Anybody else with a question about that? What do you use for fencing? Like, is it a nice 1.5 or 2 inches?
no, I think on these, it's the smaller, so you can't climb
Yeah.
it readily, but I have an expert sitting over my shoulder who can whisper in my ear. Class 2B bonded infused fencing.
My real question was gonna come back to climbing.
You can't, well, I'm sorry.
It would be very difficult.
It's the super small net. It's 1.25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Up top.
2.5. So you're not getting your foot in those. You might get your fingers in there, but you're not gonna get your.
It's the requirements.
Yeah. Okay.
So 5 or 6 year old can't get their shoe.
1.25.
Yeah.
I can't say can't.
Never say can't, yeah.
Smaller than.
Kids were taught how to do
I know that.
And taggers will find a way.
I like Greg's analysis, which is smaller than an Oreo cookie.
Yeah, there we go.
Compared to you here.
All right. Next.
So another item that we have been working through, electronic monumental signs. This was an ad alternate that ultimately was accepted. We began to move it through. Greg, fill in the blanks for me because I know that the zoning changed on it and
So zoning changed from when these were originally designed as an asphalt. And it was intended to leave these signs only available to the city, but not at this size. But the way it's written, it gives latitude to the planning department for the good of the city, but they wanted them to be uniform across all of the schools. So we agreed on behalf of the committee that if a sign went up at any of the schools, it would comport with these, and they signed off on them. So they are,
As long as they're this size, they're all this.
so they are the size that you bought in the alternate, and they are in phase 2, they'll be in phase 3. And we got them approved both single-sided as at Greenville and double-sided as at Stanton. So we have all the flexibility for. And when we take phase 3 through, we will, as we did last time, show the sign And now we can reference the approval.
And I have to say, City of Norwich, in terms of working with them, has been very good.
As they have been all along. It's a wonderful staff to work with. And very responsive and very even keeled.
So really, it's just the size of the sign
Yes.
itself. It doesn't matter what the veneer around it is.
That's debatable, Mark. The right-hand sign is exactly what the regulations would require previously. The left-hand sign wasn't anticipated in the previous regs. Now both of them are. The reason the left-hand sign works is because all the wall around it is not part of the sign, it's a wall. So the site wall is not regulated, the sign is. So the sign has to be the same size, it just happens to fit in the wall instead of onto a plinth on the right-hand drawing.
As long as it's part of a continuous wall as opposed to just,
Yeah, I think we got all the flexibility we need. And when you're done with these 6 schools, I don't know that you'll ever revisit this. Because I can't imagine another town building that would have a need for sign. So it's kind of set the standard with the schools, move through them all, knowing that that's the most of those.
Police department.
Oh,
Is it a police department?
yeah, that could be one. Yeah. All right, next.
So FF&E and technology, for Stanton, as Mike had said before, we're down to a couple of items that are trying to buy everything we can without bidding it, and we've managed to exceed it. We have about $3,600 left to go, classroom flags, some OTPT parts. I think we have OTPT under control now. Classroom flags, we were trying to make sure that they were USA made, and that's more difficult than it might seem.
I believe it.
Yeah, especially for flags. And we are probably at the next meeting, we'll set up timeline for Greenville, so you can start anticipating when we'll have that package in front of you for your approval, so we get it from the state for review. We want to try to set that purchase somewhere around October or mid to late October to get that purchase done, because price increases are January typically. Well, it's not the typical price increase, it's when the regional buying consortium contracts change before the pricing changes. So we want to get that because everyone's going to be anticipating pricing changes. So we just work with the vendors, work with our largest vendors, and ask them when would be most advantageous for the city to purchase. And right now we're being told get it into October, and that gets you past the holiday lull that the foreign manufacturers of some of the equipment take that time off, and the domestic manufacturers go into a stasis between Thanksgiving and the end of the year. So October gives everyone a good time to load all that in. The next run through on Greenville will be a lot simpler because it's the same stuff. It's almost essentially the same package.
So the
If we can do this at the end of the meeting, just because I think
Yeah.
there'll be some discussion about this.
that's what the
Yeah,
intention
yeah,
is.
okay.
This is something that Mike has asked us to include for consideration in new topics. So we just have it here so we can bring it back.
Okay, I'll leave it up.
Thank you. And then if you go to the next slide, Uncas and Moriarty Phase 2 schools. So we're underway with ONG and our consultant team, separate team working with construction administration activities from our office. In terms of key activities for both right now, review of RFIs, pay recs, attending OAC meetings, attending pre-install meetings. Hopefully we're at the end of those. Hearing work.
The key activity has been surviving Dan's. Yeah. Hey, we can have another meeting. We can have 3 meetings. What the hell?
And then in terms of key submittals right now, concrete slab, concrete rebar, MEP submittals have started and then structural fill submission. So we're just getting up and running on these, but they're important. We have them staffed and moving quickly. Next slide. Relative to teachers, our overall schedule, we delivered the schematic design end of March. April, May, and June were dedicated to DD. As Mike identified in his report, we have a lot of work on our plate trying to get this thing right size. We're about at the midpoint here of the DD delivery. So we're moving through that. And if you move to the next slide, it is this transition. We shared this slide at the last, and it's how do we move forward from SD into DD? And really, we have to get the overall program statement solidified, nailed down, and agreed upon so that we can move forward without having to make adjustment to plan. We have ideas. We're on our way there and working hard with the entire team, O&G, CSG, all of our consultants and our team internally. Next slide.
Just a quick question.
Oh, yes.
I remember there was Mr. Meeting. Which part of acreage, the back, up in the park or in the front?
So I guess you're referring to it would be back. It's the eastern side.
Back.
Yes.
Not the ball,
Not the upper.
Not the upper, but on the other side.
Yes.
If you're looking out the main entrance to the school, look straight up.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, well, if you could stay there.
Teachers is, Huntington is, like it said, we're canvassing, Dan's group and our consultants. We are using the documents we put together early in the programming effort just to give everybody an idea of what might happen, because that includes Transition Academy and adult learning. And we're just asking everybody in this building, which is primarily the front part of the building, the old part of the building, what would you want to know about what's inside the building that may involve us opening the wall or ceiling or testing, so that we can get it done this summer, patch it all back up and have it ready for use in September. And then I'll set some time up with Mike to talk about what the programming might
Richard,
be.
there's some floor tiles there.
Yeah, floor tile, I think is pretty easy. Matt Brown's going to send us the asbestos reports. The real consideration with that building is if the walls are terracotta behind the plaster, or if the plaster is asbestos containing.
Yeah.
But I don't think the plaster will be. I'm sure the tiles are. I'm, given the age of the building, kind of concerned that all the walls are terracotta.
Are they 9-inch tiles?
What's that?
They 9-inch tiles or they this?
On the floor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not a question.
There's yeah, more than likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's asbestos
The smaller
with-
tile, yeah, more
with
than
black
likely.
mastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than likely.
So we'll have an update on that one next week, next meeting, and should be set to go.
Always
separate.
leaving. As long as you don't break them up.
I don't know. Good.
All right. Anything else there?
That's it.
Very much. All right. I'll leave that, up. We'll just, all right, so you will notice on the agenda that Mike's draft agenda made some changes in how we're presenting, and that's he was breaking it down into phase 1, phase 2 projects, et cetera. So we do have a lot for O&G from O&G tonight, because we're going to be doing the bid packages and stuff too. So so right now we got Downs up with phase 1. Greenville and Stanton. Look at this. Oh, dude, no, hang on, hang on. I could fix that. That's easy. He came up. All right, Greenville.
And one Greenville update. Work completed since our last meeting. We did complete the slab on grade in the main building, which is area A, B, C, excluding area D up in the hill. We've installed the roof screen support steel on the main building. We have poured the rooftop mechanical unit concrete pads. Retaining wall 4C, which you heard from Jim earlier, has been completed. Other than some final grading at the top wall, the top of the wall there, but all the block work is complete. The drainage in front of that wall has also been completed and is tied back into the stormwater detention system. Corner of the site, southwest corner of the site. We've completed the additional perimeter tree clearing. Had on here for quite some time, but we finally got out of the winter, got that taken care of. So that's great. And in area A, we've just about completed the mechanical wing CME walls, which I have some photos of them here that you'll see. We've also set the transformer pad. Transformer's not on site, but we set the pad. Conduits are tied in underground into the building. And work in progress, we continue to crush the rock and haul off site. That's up on the upper level of the site still. Continue with drainage structure installation. Our exterior building envelope is really taking shape now. The roofing will be substantially complete by the end of this week on the main building. We have exterior framing and sheathing ongoing, and masonry activity has started with the AVB application. We don't actually have the brick veneer started yet, but the AVB that goes on the sheathing is in progress. So for next meeting, you'll see some masonry installation on the veneer side. Site utilities continue. We're going up the hill from down the Golden side of the site up to Boswell. I have some pictures of that as well. And we have quite a bit of mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire protection, overhead rough-ins completed on floor 2. Floor 3 is following behind, and we're just getting down to floor 1. We have some electrical conduit that just started down there. We've installed stair 4. There are a total of 6 stairs. We've installed 1 so far. That was stair 4. Then work to start. Foundations for area D. Interior framing just starting, getting to this week. In-wall rough-ins will start once the interior framing is ongoing. The remaining stair fabrications. And this is all stuff you should see before the next meeting here. And saw cutting Boswell Ave. We're anticipating there's going to be rock in the road. We have to get to the far side of the street to tap the utilities in. And we're at the curb line and we see rock from our site. So we're anticipating rock there. So we're going to make a curb, saw cut, get out there, take the rock out, backfill it clean. And we'll go back out on the street once we coordinate with NPU with the utilities to get those into the site. And then we have duct work that actually showed up yesterday. So that's going to start getting installed as well. I'll walk you through some photos for highlights of these activities. First one here, this is the slab on grade in area A and B. This was April 24th, just after our meeting last time. This is some of the roof screen support steel getting craned up to the roof. Here's the pour stop layout for a mechanical pad that gets poured in concrete. The interior duct penetrations there, those will get cut out after the unit's in place. That concrete has since been poured. This is the mechanical wing in area A I was talking about. So you have your main mechanical room, your boilers, water heaters, your main electrical room. There's an MDF closet, receiving area at the loading dock. And this is just the first course at the end of April. This is that utility corridor that goes up. So we're at the lower level of the site here, just off to the right-hand side of your loading dock. You have the sanitary sewer line getting installed there and some electrical conduits. If you can see them at the top, they're poking through there. So we have a delivery of that conduit on site. So we're going to start installing that, making our way up to Boswell. Roof installation ongoing. This is area A. So this is that same mechanical wing I just talked about. You can see a lot more block work in place, but roof install early May. This is the slab on grade in area C. So we had to do 2 different pours due to the volume of that slab. This was May 7th. So now the entire slab on grade is complete. You saw exterior framing. This is on. So your main entry is right over here on the left-hand side, area B, going out to the right-hand side of that photo. A lot of progress on exterior framing here. Here's that stair 4 I was talking about. Rails aren't installed in this photo, but this is in the middle of installation. There's one of those concrete pads I was talking about. Concrete getting finished right there, May 8th.
Those are-
Do you know what the rise run of those stairs are? I was curious.
I don't think what you saw there had hands in place yet. I'm not sure,
Mhm.
but it's, you know, it's your standard stair, whatever that is. Um,
Do you know what that is, Jim?
Say again?
Rise run for the stairwells there?
The right,
The rise run?
oh, it's approximately 7-Eleven.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That's the rise on hoping.
I was just curious, sorry.
Well, there's it is a formula that adjusts, it has to be a proportion that follows, so, you know, generally you start at 7-Eleven and it might be up or down, but when you want to adjust the other, it's.
I've cut my share, right?
Change the property.
Let me tell you, it's like my front deck stairs are still there. It's like 20, you know.
How many times do you have to cut the risers?
Oh, probably 2 or 3,
There you go.
probably, and it's only like 4 or 5 steps. It's a 4-foot
I'm
wide.
guilty too. That's why I can
Yeah.
make fun of you. 'cause
It's a
that's-
4-foot wide stairwell, though. So.
You kind of got to get it first time on steel.
Yeah. All on steel. Yeah, it's all. Those are pre-built. Though, those. Go ahead.
So
Sorry.
here's our transformer pad in the vault. So the conduits, you know, connect to the transformer in the hole there. They run underground into the main electrical room. That's in place, so that's great. And this is that same side, looks like you just saw with the framing from a little bit of a different angle, but we have sheathing ongoing, window blocking. And ABB is going to follow behind that, the air vapor barrier masonry. So here's just a drainage structure being installed. So ongoing work, and this is the infamous Area D. This photo was from actually earlier today. We cleaned all this rock down. This is where the south wall of Area D foundation wall is going to sit. We've had a lot of work into this rock. This is a pocket for a footing, comes up. We have another pocket for a footing over there. There's a lot of time and effort from the whole team that's gone into getting this right, which is obviously goal number one, make sure it's right and safe for everybody. So this work is on the precipice of getting going. We're all very excited to do that. I'm kind of sick of looking at this rock, to be honest with you, but
You and me both.
So,
It's great though.
so those are the footings for the steel for building D.
yeah, there
For
would
the
be
gym.
footing for a column that goes up. Yep. There's, I think that wall gets up to 10 to 14 feet, different areas, depending on the footing level. Should go.
Well, it ain't gonna move.
No, it gets pinned to the rock there too on that south face, doweled right into it. So that's our photos. Any questions on progress or photos? We'll jump into the side of it.
The sewage, you're gonna have to pump it up the hill?
No, that actually comes down from D and goes out Golden Street. So
All
it comes downhill,
So it's all gravity fed.
downhill from up top, yeah.
Downhill is good.
Yeah.
So our allowance log, just a quick update, subcontractor allowances, haven't spent much to date. There's not too much pending. But again, we're really getting into building the building now, so, you know, we will be getting into using some of these as we go. Construction manager allowances, we've approved 178,000 to date through change orders. We have just 2,500 pending for some off hours work this time. We're gonna really get into utilizing that allowance through the summer here in the good weather and getting our trades, you know, ramped up, get as much work in place as we can. Try to get some time back into the schedule. And then we'll definitely get into using our temporary environmental controls for some temporary cooling of that building as we get it enclosed. So it's not a hot box for the workers in there. And then we have our CM contingency. To date, we've committed 113,000 and we're pending 334. So that took a big jump from last meeting because delay costs that we've been going back and forth on. We're recommending putting that against the construction manager's allowance. So we've carried that as a pending cost here rather than on the owner's contingency side of things. And then this is our general schedule progress update. In March 16th, substantial completion date, which we've been CSG for that. Bring before the committee here.
We haven't finished that yet, right?
Not yet. We
We're
have.
down to
a couple
the last
loose ends.
couple items.
Yeah,
Okay,
very close.
but that's what we're anticipating.
Yes.
So how much rock work do we have still for the drive from Boswell into the parking area, the upper parking?
So there's still a little bit of work up at the Boswell, like right at the entrance. There's some work for the city that actually has to come in to improve sight lines after we're completed. But we've taken a substantial amount of that rock out. There's still a little bit left. We have to get into the street, like I said, to take that out. But that's where the whole utility corridor comes up to. So that's all been blasted. It's a matter of removing that material. And what was at Boswell was not blasted because of the proximity to gas lines and stuff in the street. So that has all been hammered down over the last 2 to 3 weeks. So we're still working with rock up there, but we've made a substantial.
So your incline is good right now.
We don't have the incline into the site yet, or the decline, if you will, from Boswell. But all that material is in progress of being handled, taken off site, getting us down the grade.
Anything, any other questions for, on Greenville?
Thank you.
There are none. All right. This worked out good.
Okay, so Stanton has made great progress over the last month. The majority of the progress that you'll see now is in the finishes inside the building, flooring, page works, or in the tile. On the exterior of the building, the aluminum storefront windows have been installed. The classroom wing is enclosed. The cowl wall at the gym has been installed. Just started on curtain wall today. We set the boilers, the rooftop units 1 through 3. All HVAC equipment is up on the roof now. And most importantly, the biggest highlight or milestone of the project is the permanent building electrical service has been energized by NPU. So we have permanent power in the building. And I'll run you through some photos here to help you visualize and see where we're at.
I'll mention here that we did do a tour stand with the day. Some of you might have seen the article in the paper. Went pretty well. I thought the article was solid. You know, and complimentary to the project. The pictures of me were terrible, but other than that, it was it was fine. But also I'll note that Pete Procco, myself, and Mike are going to do Stu Breyer's show tomorrow at 11. So if you all get a chance, if anyone wants to call in for that and lob us some softball questions, that would be nice. But it's not necessary, but wouldn't hurt.
What was that?
Well, lob us some softball questions.
Oh.
But I'm saying that on a recorded meeting, but not really necessary, but I just want to make everybody aware that's what we're doing. So that was Pete Procco's doing, by the way, taking a little initiative there regarding the Greenville project. So because certainly we've had some, challenges there. So we definitely, we're not trying to hide anything, obviously, we're trying to be upfront. All right. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, let's do some photos. So the east elevation, I've been showing this elevation, this photo for the last several months, framed, sheathed, masonry veneer, and now the windows are in storefronts completed. So that's east elevation A and B. And then the opposite side, west elevation of A and B, windows installed. Typical classroom on building A, second floor. That's the millwork wall. All casework on the second floor is delivered, just about installed. Countertops are coming at the end of this week. And then the opposite side of that wall is the exterior window wall, where there's an open shelving unit that goes in from window to window. Typical classroom flooring arrangement. There's 2 colors. There's that wave pattern that they're using a template to cut. And then there's these 12 by 12 squares, confetti, a little color kind of splashed across the floor. So second floor resilient flooring is being installed. On the ground floor, we're prepping all the floors, all slab on grade receives a moisture mitigation system, which is what they're doing right there, installing that moisture mitigation. And then in the next photo, you'll see that the floor's been prepped now. They floated it out. So that room, that's the kindergarten wing. Millwork just got delivered this week. Floors are prepped. Walls got a couple coats of paint on them, and we're finishing our ceiling. So we're turning that over to millwork now. Similar room. Second floor corridor. Was a week or so ago. We've made great progress in there. Blocker bases. Go ahead. Ceramic wall tile is in progress. We should be done with the second floor corridor ceramic tile by end of this week, end of next, maybe middle of next week. That's your typical pattern on the second floor. A's done, B's in progress. Showed you a lot of photos that you'd like that. Got more attention out of the retaining wall and ceramic.
We like pictures.
Interesting group. Okay, so that's the multi-gang toilet room, boys and girls room on the second floor. A second floor ceramic tile is complete, floors and walls, and they're in progress on the mirror image toilet rooms on the first floor. That is just inside the gym entry.
Is that bulletin board stuff?
That's display cases, built
Okay.
into recessed display cases, drywall wavy soffit. Just on the opposite side of that wall's our gym, cal walls installed, painters in there now, drywall's complete. Gym equipment is scheduled to come next week, basketball goals, divider curtain, so. Complete the drywall.
What's the floor gonna be in there?
Wood, it is a wood floor, sleeper system.
Is it removable or?
Oh, no,
Okay.
it's for life.
You said sleeper, I'm going.
Just another photo of the gym. Domestic water service, we have water in the building, which is nice. Fire service is complete also. Fitting out the boiler room now. And the site contractor, that's just outside of the kindergarten pre-K classroom wing. They're just getting started with prepping sidewalks and the playground that goes in that area. That'll be completed with this phase as well. The playground adjacent to that one.
Is it a dry sprinkler system right now?
In the building?
Yeah,
No wet sprinkler,
wet. Okay.
no dry. That's it. Subcontractor allowances are still preserved. There's a few pending out there, but we've done pretty well with our allowances, using them sparingly. And similarly with the construction manager allowances, still a balance remaining. And uniquely, this project, the project contingency has actually grown and gotten larger instead of shrinking. CFO and G, get that off.
The contingency grows is good, the contract value increases bad.
And that's pretty much it.
Okay. Like that, that's good line. Good line.
Any questions?
Any questions for Chris?
Thank you.
All right. All right. Where are we at?
That's the other memo for phase two, Mark.
Yeah, I know, I just turned up here. Where are we at? Phase one projects. All right, so we got that. Items impact project costs, phase one. Which one we have? That's phase two. That the other one? Phase one. There we go.
I'll read these and then just allow the respective Downs and ERA staff to address these. So the first group are to be paid from owner contingency. So these are the ones that are a direct contract cost. So we got Stanton PCO 70R1 for some added sinks at toilet room C109 and C110. With Jim even going to the rationale behind it.
The single count was necessary to bring it up for purposes of.
But you know,
Say again?
purposes of
Meeting the point for loading in the area.
The next one is additional card readers and cameras and a camera in the elevator. I can actually describe this one. This one came as a request from the Norwich Public Schools. The camera in the elevator came as a result of, you don't ever want to have a single staff person, student in the elevator alone. So the camera coverage will protect the elevator and any display.
I'm surprised that wasn't, included in the course of events here and the security wise.
The additional card readers came as the additional card readers are for the specialty spaces for special ed. The Strive and Teams room. And basically the rationale behind that one is at times when staff need to bring a student that may be having a discipline issue into those rooms, it's easier to just take your badge and swipe for the door to open rather than try and fumble for a key to get into those spaces. I believe the card readers happen to 6 locations, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and that's something we learned over, Mike, when we went to look at the Groton Middle School. And then it made sense based on Stanton. It's not always just for behaviors or discipline, just dysregulation and our Strive students. It's difficult for staff to take out a key and get in when you're working with a student or more than one student.
Does that require another panel to be installed for those card readers or no? They can be added to the panels that are already there. Okay.
The next one for Greenville, dishwasher power revision. This was similar to the one for Stanton, I believe.
Equipment specific, relative to the bolts and phasing of the equipment. So when we specify, we have a basis of design. Open bid law allows for multiple submissions. Different manufacturers have different phasing and voltage requirements.
The next one was revisions to gas pressure and piping. I believe this came as a result of a NPU requirement, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Jim? Yeah, the revisions to gas pressure and piping.
That was NPU.
Yes.
Yes.
The next one is the accessible playground matting that the building committee financial subcommittee approved for Stanton. Same exact plan here for the playgrounds at Greenville. These are just the rubber mats to keep ADA accessibility. This next one I'm going to need help with, Jim. The fire rated curtain wall at stair 4. Yeah.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Therefore, they want that's installed back by or the back by. Yeah.
Fire.
The PR changed to storefront type SF30. At third floor is therefore to a curtain wall type CW8 with some fire rated glazing assembly. So it's a totally new assembly. That's
Yes.
a great change.
So this has to do with the exposure of fire rated wall relative to something that's within 180 degrees. So by code, we had to make sure that was a fire rated something, maintain the light into the stair tower.
The next two don't result in a contract cost increase. They're paid out of Downs Construction allowance. The first one is for some additional clean out at Fort Brook. So as everyone may remember, there's a culvert basically that runs under the entirety of the Stanton parking lot. And, you know, initially, as part of the project design, you know, Matt Brown had come to us, we saw some settlement within the parking lot and wanted to check out, you know, the culvert that runs under the Stanton parking lot. That culvert ended up being relatively crowded with rocks and debris that had made its way into the culvert. So the entire length of the culvert that runs under the parking lot has now been cleaned. We have camera footage that's been provided to Norwich Public Works, and now that culvert is completely cleaned out. I don't believe the city has any record of, that I know of any cameraing done on that culvert. So, you know, before we put a new parking lot over the existing parking lot there at Stanton, it was prudent to at least make sure that the pipe was in good sound condition before we did that, so that we would not tear up the new parking lot.
We were talking about this at the beginning of the project, so it's something we had put off.
These guys were here for literally 3 days. And, you know, we have camera footage from each section that they did each day, and there was literally debris coming out of the pipe almost every day. The next one was Greenville PCO 37. That was just for some premium time only labor for a Saturday. I don't know. I don't remember exactly which day it
There
was.
were a couple of Saturdays included. Steel contractor, electrical contractor, and site work contractor. It's for multiple Saturdays.
And the next set of PCOs are for Stanton. They don't result in a contract cost increase. These ones came out of the Downs construction contingency. I'm gonna need some help with these ones, patching above ceiling penetrations.
It's all part of the blocking requirement, DC walls.
Okay. Rated wall assembly.
Stair number 2, the ceiling, the detail to show the ceiling stopping that rated assembly will continue on. So we did with the drywall partition.
Acoustical caulk penetrations at this is same as 9. And then furnish it. Gas.
Isolation, the lead controller, an electrical device that slipped through the cracks and didn't get within.
Okay.
Sign of any scope, it's detail on the drawings, but it's specified. So we decided for all that, but you see.
That's like an emergency shuttle valve.
I would imagine it's an emergency shut off, or it's a
Essentially, yes, it ties
Yeah.
in the kitchen gas, the Ansel system.
and that takes us through the list of items impacting project costs for phase 1.
Okay, what I'd like to do is do it with 2 motions by each school. So I'm gonna read them off and so we'll start with Stanton, since that's the first one listed. I get a motion to approve Stanton PCOs numbers 070R1, 077R1, number 85, number 66, 82, 83, and 84. So moved by Sheila Hayes, second by Mark Poulos. Any discussion on the Stanton ones? Hearing none. Greg Velocity,
Yes.
Mark Poulos.
Yes.
Oh, Cindy's hiding behind
Yeah.
there. I forgot to note that she's actually here. Bill Hull.
Yes.
Joe DeLucia.
Yes.
Sheila.
Yeah.
Pete. Peter.
Yes.
Dato.
Yes.
And myself, yes. I think we're at the 10-0 now. We're at the 10. All right. Next one will be Greenville. Could I get a motion to approve Greenville PCOs number 18, 44, 50, 59, 37. I think that's it.
So moved.
So moved by Sheila Hayes. Could I get a second?
Second again.
Second again by Mark Poulos. Any discussion? Hearing none. Greg Velocity.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Cindy.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Sheila.
Yes.
Pete.
Yeah.
Peter.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and myself, yes, 10-0. Thank you. All right. We up for phase two?
Phase two.
Where's that one? There enough stuff? Yeah, this was fine. I put them all up there and I just got a tab boom.
We got the ONG reports first.
Okay, all right, let's do that.
I know we skipped it, but did we want to go back to the plaque discussion?
No,
That's for
That's
new
what.
business, because it
Oh,
wasn't. on the
okay.
agenda.
All right.
Hang on. Uncas Moriarty, I think we want, right?
Yes.
Dan, we want Uncas Moriarty, right?
Yes.
Mike Zario.
Everybody.
You're, currently covering both. A couple of people on. Sharon? So Mike is gonna go over the physical work that has begun on your properties there. We are excited to go to the next to both the Moriarty site and the Uncas site. 5.5, 5.7. Close, I'm gonna step back there. I'll roll the recon part.
Hi, everyone. Mike Zario. Good to be here. I'll be the project manager for the Moriarty Elementary School project. Been involved here assisting Dan and Tim for many months now, and anticipation of getting these projects started. And happy to share some updates with you today regarding mobilization. Stick on the screen for a little bit, then we'll flip through the pictures. But from a process wise and administratively speaking, there's a lot of overlap on both of these projects from a planning and coordination perspective ahead of mobilization. To get us to that point, a lot of effort has been made so far, and spreading the word on when we're starting and what our projected construction timelines. In order to disseminate that information, we have distributed, good flyer neighbors that provide an update about Uncas and Moriarty to all the abutting neighbors on both projects. It's a great time to make contact with the neighbors and establish that relationship and provide our contact information should it be needed, and really give them the answers on the who's, the what's, the why's, and the when's, and all that. In addition to that, we have had pre-mobilization meetings with school administrators. Peter Camp over at Uncas and Ashley and Greg over at Moriarty. They've been amazing partners to deal with here getting started. And obviously maintaining that relationship between ONG and the administrators is a big key to success on any project, any school project. Coordinating recess times, pick up, drop off, field day, other events as they coincide with our construction activities is a normal process for our project teams, and happy that communication is flowing well between us, Greg, Ashley, and Peter. Continuing with coordination as the trades are getting their notices to proceed. We're having kickoff meetings with them for talk on more boilerplate items, specific things like getting into our project management software, preparing submittal logs, talking about procurement, safety, items of that nature. Procurement is a critical point for us to refine our lead times, and as trades are communicating with vendors, which we take that information and update our project schedule to firm up our activity starts and what might impact that. Reminding everyone that there was a phase one early electrical procurement buyout, and since the last meeting, the generator, the transfer switches, the switchgear, all that has been released on both projects, and we're tracking the anticipated delivery dates and lead times for those pieces of equipment. With that in mind, our MEP coordination process has kicked off, and we're about 3 meetings into the whole entire process. Our BDC BIM department is the gatekeeper of all the documents through the coordination process, and that is unfolding well. We're focused on getting the underground modeled, and obviously the roof openings for our lab rough-ins and steel metal decking procurement needs. This upcoming Thursday, we have scheduled a pre-job conference at Moriarty with trade partners and the labor unions. So we're looking forward to getting on the same page with those 2 entities to have a successful project. A separate pre-job conference will be held for Uncas with the unions on the next week or so. Finally looking ahead to the summer utilities push and getting all the gas lines, the water, the sanitary from the street and into our construction fence is on our radar. We're discussing a pre-installation meeting date with NPU next week to ensure that process is moved once school gets out in mid-June. We'll take a look at some of the pictures here. Looks like Moriarty's first on the next screen here. In regards to the mobilization at Moriarty, the site work contractor CJ Fucci mobilized on May 6th, which is a little less than 2 weeks ago, which is pretty hard to believe after walking the jobs this afternoon. A lot of progress has been made. Progress on the screen here I'd like to show you is of the east side of the existing building, some tree clearing. And a lot of trees here to get rid of comparing to the Uncas property. Something to show. Next slide here, another picture here taken along the east side of the property. It's actually parallel with Old Canterbury Turnpike, if you're familiar with that area.
Canterbury
Trees.
Turnpike.
Well, this one's on the Old Canterbury side.
Oh,
Yep. Next picture here, we'll talk about, decided to throw in a picture here of the western side of the site, actually the back of the existing school, just showing some equipment that had mobilized a couple weeks ago from the tree clearing and site work contractors. Didn't get a picture of it, but this is where all the logs and the grubbings were staged to get all chipped up and hauled off site. You can also see some of the remnants of the existing playground that were removed. Students weren't too happy about that, but kudos to Matt Brown at our last OAC meeting. He had asked DRA and SLR to provide some renderings of the playscape to show the kids and boost from some morale. So next picture here, this one, go back one more.
oh,
Sorry.
one second, Greg, is that the area you were talking about, that we were talking about today?
The current photo that you're showing right now?
Hang on, that one?
No.
Place.
Okay. All right.
So we are along Canterbury Turnpike here, just showing some progress of our trailer that got delivered last week. It's actually all set up now as of today. It's all skirted and locked and leveled. Looking to get power set up next and then internet the following week. More pictures here of some fencing behind the existing school, just separating construction and student population areas. I'm going to shrink our footprint here. Uncas, we can go right into the pictures. The next slide here. Mobilized site work contractor on the 7th of May, a little over 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago. On the screen here, the doesn't do any of the tree clearing any justice, but there's about 2.5 more weeks of tree clearing on this property as there was on Moriarty. This picture is actually in the temporary logging, chipping laydown area. It's where our permanent trailer will be. We're chipping up the trees and we're hauling them out off of Allen Avenue. Next picture here is that process unfolding, chipping up the logs and the grubbings and hauling the trailers out and off of Allen in the back there. This picture is looking down on the backside of the school, south side of the project. Temporary barriers here for now set up to separate school population from construction activities. Ultimately, there will be a hard temporary metal fence there. We got to get some more trees out of the way in order to make that work. Next picture here, next couple pictures actually will show some erosion control set up on the boundaries of the site limits. Again, up at the top page there, some more ENS, and then the front of Uncas Elementary School here. This ultimately will become a lawn play area when the kids return in August, but right now it's cautioned off for now because this is where we're hauling all the trees from the back of the site all the way out to the front. It's our east access road, I believe. Decided to show a picture of this unhealthy tree that we had taken down. There's a lot of that going on here, but excited to plant some new trees for many years to come. More separation between school population and construction activities, along with some more ENS at the bottom there. Finally, just some more pictures of some tree clearing equipment that I wanted to show. Thank you.
Yeah, I actually was on property this afternoon as well. Probably 95% of the trees have been felled. All of the chip material has been off-hauled. Looks quite different. You now know where your property limits are. It's quite a lot of trees removed. Okay, so on the pre-construction side of things, what has been going on over the last month? I think 31 scope reviews since our last meeting. That was 20 days. So 20 days, 31 90-minute meetings. That represents a total of 56 scope reviews done so far for the project. Did have to scope review a couple of the trades more than once to finalize a couple things, and I'll get into the detail of that. I reported here that I was actually complete with all the scope reviews, which I had hoped to be, but I have 2 left. I have to do fire stopping, my number 2, was number 1 didn't have scope, and final cleaning. So, getting very close to the end of that. As Mike mentioned, my ability to wrap up the GMP has been impacted by the duration of time I needed for all of these scope reviews and nailing down contracts with these trades. Other than that, I updated the pre-construction schedule. Not much left to the pre-construction schedule. I guess I should just run down what these other activities were. So upcoming for me is to produce the GMP amendment, as Mike mentioned. I have a target of Thursday to get my draft to Mike, and then we'll circulate it around and be in a position to bring it to this committee at the next meeting. I'm now in contract mode, so moving from scope reviews into contracts. And that's it for Uncas and Moriarty. Teachers middle school.
Just got to pause because the agenda was shifted a bit.
Yeah, we're doing, working phase 2.
Okay, so
Space.
I won't talk to teachers until a little bit later. And I'll just jump right into the meat and potatoes of our Uncas and Moriarty scope reviews and GMP development. So I mentioned your next slide is the construction schedule or pre-construction schedule. The only updates here really are just taking tasks off and updating my final completion of issuing contracts and issuing that GMP. The other piece of information would be on next page, which represents the actual start dates of the work. The few items that I carried here under construction are now superseded by the construction schedules. We're finalizing those as part of our GMP process. As you may know or recall, in the bid documents, we have quite an elaborate construction schedule, 1,900 activities. And so through the scope review process and the actualization of the dates of the start of the work, we are massaging that document with input from the trades, and that becomes the baseline schedule that we carry into the GMP. That becomes the baseline that we utilize with the trades throughout the trade process. With these projects, they're not, hyper intense schedule wise, but they are quick. And so we have a pretty diligent system in which we update that schedule on a bi-weekly basis with input from the trades. We utilize a new software that's been put out by Primavera. Primavera is now partnered with Oracle, and it's called OPC, and that's the documents that you'll see going forward in our monthly reports once that baseline is established. So that's the extent of what I had for 10 activities for the construction phase. We roll that into the future development. So next to some numbers, I'll move ahead to what I wanted to provide for the group today is an update on the GMP. So to the next slide would be the same draft that I prepared for you at the last meeting. Updated now with new information on what is the trade contract amount. So upper section, second row down, that's the number that's changed. It represents again now where the awarded contracts will land. This is that number, then trickles down through percentages in the contingency line items, in the insurance line items, and in the P&P bond line items to a new GMP value. Last month, I was at 58,171,000. Last month, I told you about Accurate Window and the low cost bid that they provided on bid day. And I've sat with them now 3 times. They are ready to take the project on. I'm ready to recommend the award. There's some concern in that, in that value, but for those who may know, the Accurate team, the Jacobic family is in town. They're building your first phase buildings. We have confidence that they will perform for you in our buildings. There's just going to be some management that's going to be needed, having worked the Accurate Window in the past. You may have to support them a little more than others. So bottom line is the number came down significantly as a result. And if you go ahead one additional slide, there's a few things to the buyout, to the bid scope and award process that I want to highlight. So what I did is I highlighted in green all of the packages that we have previously awarded. In yellow are the presentations for this evening. That's the first column. As you may recall, the fourth column over is the bid values, and the second column over is the value of our estimate. And so now there's a savings to where we saw the project coming in, 6.8 million. As Mike had described earlier, he's rolling these numbers already into your overall package. With the, generally speaking, soft cost all in, and again, this is more in, CSG's overall presentation. There may be adjustments to the soft cost value. This project runs about a $6.3 million lower than where we were, coming into the bid phase. So that's 6.3 mil. A good number to keep in the back of your mind. So a couple of the trades that I wanted to speak to this evening, I'd like to report to everyone so everyone's aware of. We had 2 bid protests on the masonry package. Our masonry low bid contractor is a contractor that is now the son of a contractor that's been in some legal issues. Acronym Masonry is Sal Monarca Jr.'s father. He's working with the government now on some issues that they had several years back. His company is now
Tax issues?
different. It goes back to to Costa and some issues with improper payment for some things that shouldn't have happened. But what's happened to his son has been in the industry. I've known him 15 years. He's now picking up the reins. He's developed a new company. They're based out of Boston. He still has a Connecticut presence. He still runs work out of Connecticut. The protests came in on both sides. One was relative to, why is this guy able to bid? And does he have the pre-qualification status? That's what took a little effort in making sure that I had vetted that properly. I shared the information with the purchasing department here in the city, got their opinion, as well as our opinion in legal. He's qualified to produce work. So he is now my recommended contractor for the masonry package on this project. A couple of the things I wanted to note for you. I am now carrying Accurate Door and Window as it's bid package 2.08. Last month I was not. Now that really represents driving the overall project cost down. The other couple of things I'll mention here, actually only one. I had 2 AEG flooring contractors was the low apparent bid for your flooring material or flooring installation. His bid was non-responsive or deemed non-responsive as a result of missing what's known as a DAS update statement. So his number is no longer carried, and Frank Higgins is carried. Frank Higgins is well-known and respected contractor, but just so you're aware of that. Also, Higgins put in a bid protest, which was immediately responded to because it was very apparent that without that DAS bid or pre-qualification statement, they're not allowed to bid the work. So they were removed from the values. So this is where we are. This is the packages I have for you for approval this evening. Don't think I have any other insight for you. I have a few more. Like I said, I'm going to fire top and final clean, and acoustical will come to you next month along with the GMP. So next, let's speak to the Moriarty site. Our bid results again adjusted for accepting Accurate Windows bid. Drove the price down. Now, last month it was 60,383,000. It's now 59,618,000. The value of savings compared to where we were before we went to bid on this project is roughly 2.4 million. So that's where the two numbers are on the projects. To the bid results or to the contract award sheet, Similar comment, green means we've approved it already, yellow means it's on the table for this evening. I wanted to highlight that Stanford Wrecking was the number 2 bidder. The low bidder was at about 750,000. That was a mistake. He didn't realize he had to knock down the building, not just do the abatement. He withdrew his bid. I was okay with that. And again, now this case, the masonry package, AMI Boston is again the low bidder. I have to make a recommendation based on my intuition as to the value of this contractor. I know Sal Jr., been working with him for many years, but I did not want to recommend him on both your projects. I want to prove his new worth as a new company. Essentially, he's got to perform, and I want him to perform on one and not be at risk on both. So why I want to bring it to this group's attention is there is $130,000 delta. No, I'm sorry, $180,000 delta between the number between AMI Boston and Giliberto. Both Mike and I have worked with both of these contractors on previous work. We know who we're dealing with. Giliberto is, he's a reputable guy, younger guy, starting the company out. This is large work for him, but we have more confidence in his capabilities to perform this work, which is why we make that recommendation. But don't want to make the recommendation without letting you know that there's a price tag. It's $180,000 more to go with the Giliberto bid as opposed to the AMI Boston bid.
What's AMI have to say about it? Anything?
Oh, shucks, Dan, please. No, other than that, no. I mean,
Okay.
Sal looks forward to the opportunity. I have to give Sal credit where credit is due. 3 scope review meetings. He's already built his submittals binders for putting in submittals. He already has the rebar shop drawings done for the rebar, for the masonry, for both the projects. But he's very much wants to prove worth and remove the legacy of what he's trying to move away from. Not without, competition getting up in arms about it. So having a conversation with Sal Jr. today, letting him know that this is how I was going to make this recommendation to the school. The only other thing to note here is, again, AEG was the low bid on flooring. They were not accepted as the low bid because of a failed non-responsive bid. So also on this sheet, I wanted to bring or refresh, we have all of the alternates. If you may recall from the last time we spoke, alternate 2 and 3 represent costs that came with the digital sign and utilizing cast-in-place concrete curbs in lieu of bituminous curbs. Through scope discussions and discussions with CJ Fuji on their bid, as well as the electrical side of that bid, the numbers prepared and submitted on bid day are not good. I will be able to provide those products for you at a better price if we buy them after bid. They realized they didn't have enough information on bid day, so they carried a cost that was inappropriate. For example, CJ Fuji, I didn't list the value here for you. The value was, if I was to compare other bid forms for that particular package, his value was 150%. That's my point, is that by introducing these post-bid awards as PRs, I will be able to provide the product at a better price. Okay, so that's true of alternate 2 and 3. And then if you recall, alternate 6 and 7, I believe, represent the BMS system alternates, where we were considering alternatives to what is the basis of design, the system that's being utilized in the phase 1 buildings. And that was really just to find out where
It's
the
building
numbers would
management
fall.
system for those of you that don't know.
Right, for HVAC control throughout your building, which type of control logic would we use? And so it turns out on bid day, the best choice was to go with your basis of design. So we have to formally reject the other 2 alternates. As we get into the alternates, the last thing to describe for you is the painting contractor, because the steel, if you recall, looking at the pictures of Greenville, they had those big steel posts on the roof that hold the roof screens. Those are galvanized steel. All exposed galvanized steel by technical spec has to be painted. So our painting contractor provided a price to paint those posts, but it's not something that anyone recommends. It becomes a maintenance item later, galvanized steel up on the roof that belongs galvanized and not painted. So we're accepting the roof screen alternate, but we're not accepting the paint part of that number. But we're not going to do it. So there'll be next actions, I believe, on the agenda refer to those alternate acceptance and rejections.
Okay.
This question I have. Going back to Greenville, Stanton, no, just the display design, because you said you're gonna, the display.
Oh, the digital
So,
screen.
the digital screen, so what you will be able to secure aftermarket will meet the specifications.
Yes, well, actually, what we learned today is that we're not going to have to change that through Greg's efforts, working with the planning and zoning, what was actually drawn on the contract documents will get built now, exactly as was in the contract documents. But by not accepting the alternate as part of the bid award,
Okay,
but issuing the proposal request, I'll be able to secure better pricing for the same scope of work post-bid.
well,
Any other questions on the bid process? We are, approaching the final version here. With all of these trades awarded, and then going through the process of analyzing everything that I found through the scope review process, I developed that list of allowances that I knew that the project is going to need, such as I'm carrying an allowance for the digital sign because I know what it's going to cost. And so I'll carry that as part of your GMP. We won't look at an additive change order going forward. There'll already be a set aside value of money for that. So I'll develop that list of allowances, include it in the GMP figure. I think your GMP figure is probably going to go up about 200 to 300,000 by the time I'm all done. And then I'll roll it out for CSG review, ultimately to this committee.
Just want to step back maybe a couple steps. Is either site, Uncas or Moriarty, going to require rock work or ledge work?
Right now, I don't believe so. Moriarty site, no signs of rock anywhere in the borings depths that we saw. I always say that tongue in cheek in that, when there's a utility trench that may run and we may find some rock, there could be something. But that site has a very low risk potential. The Uncas site has two spots, both where you enter the property from Elizabeth on the immediate right. Very small quantity, but it could be there. It could be that we have to hammer that rock out in order to install the sanitary. And then on the far side of the site, we're dropping the grade fairly significantly where all those trees were stored as you would leave that property and head out Allen. Because that grade, there's no boring right in that spot, but that would be the only other spot, and it's in the order of magnitude of maybe 100 to 200 yards. No more.
Worst case, you get a hammer drill.
Yeah, we would wrap that. We would, rambo it. I think your GMPs are safe and those savings numbers are real. We'll move forward with that.
All right. Let's, any other questions for Dan at this point? If we're gonna go into the item 8, I think, right? So, discussion of possible rejection of alternate 2 for the digital signage and alternate 3 to cast in place curbing in lieu of bituminous curbing, and alternate 5 and 6 for building management controls by Dietrich and Johnson in lieu of Allard and Compass for state project 104-0120 Uncas Uncas Elementary School. All right, Mike, we're What are we doing?
Dan told me that everything changed since I published the
No,
agenda, so.
this motion is fine as written.
What?
That motion regarding the alternates is fine.
Oh, okay, so that's the recommendation to
The
reject.
motion is to reject.
Yeah, motions to reject. I'm sorry, Dan. I didn't know what changed and what didn't change, because Dan told me that he talked to you at the beginning about some actions that changed.
Yep, to be clear, what it is the paragraph that follows on which trade packages to award.
Yeah.
When we went to agenda, I didn't have this complete list, so I added some additional
Okay.
trade contracts to the list.
Yeah, so,
You're talking about
sorry.
this stuff or?
The discussion and possible rejection and items 8 and 9 are fine the way that they're presented. Item 10 and 13 will have to be read off the separate list that Dan provided.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Mark. I wasn't aware that that was gonna be changing like that.
It's a lot. It's
Yeah.
not a problem. I'm just as glad to have it in this form as long as all the committees get it.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Hang on one
this.
second. So take it easy for 1 second. I'm not trying to get straight with this stuff. But like you said,
You could just clarify that.
yeah, so we're gonna do item 8, number 8 on the agenda right now. And that's a motion to reject alternate 2 for the digital signage and alternate 3 for cast in place curbing and remove bituminous curbing. And alternate 5 and 6 for building management controls by Dietrich and Johnson in lieu of Alec and Compass for state project. Uncas Elementary School.
So if you're voting in favor, it's in favor of rejection.
Yeah, that's the motion. The motion is to reject those alternates. Can I get such a motion?
Yeah, make the motion to accept,
To reject.
well, accept the motion. By
No,
accepting
that's not good. Yeah,
by
yeah.
accepting the motion, we would be rejecting.
As long as we're clear on that. Yeah. So
Yes.
the motion is to reject alternate 2, et cetera.
Right.
So moved.
By second by Sheila. All right,
So a yes vote would be a rejection of
correct.
the,
Any questions regarding the issue? Hearing none. Greg Velazquez,
Yes.
Mark Kulos,
yes.
Cindy Beauregard,
Yes.
Bill? Yes. Joe?
Yes.
Sheila?
Yes.
Pete?
Yeah.
Peter?
Yes.
Zado?
Yes.
And myself, yes, 10-0. All right. Item 9, are we doing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. This, all right, possible acceptance, motion to accept alternate 4 to add roof screening for state project 104-120 and Uncas Elementary School with a total cost of $364,660 with breakdown as follows. BP 205S structural steel in the amount of $222,746 and BP 2.07R roofing in the amount of $50,300 and BP 2.08, aluminum windows, storefronts and metal panels in the amount of $104,260. Could I get such a motion?
So moved.
By Sheila Hayes, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Peter.
I think you read the original as the initial cost of $364,600.
That's a total.
It was $364,660.
Okay, 364,660. Maybe I misspoke.
With correction.
With correct. Yeah, that's fine. You got the motion as it appears on the agenda. So that's what we're talking about.
Right.
All right, any other
Just wanted to
discussion?
make it sure on the recording.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. Greg?
Yes.
We'll go Cindy.
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Bill? Yes. Joe? Yes. Sheila?
Yes.
Pete?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Zado? Yes. Myself, yes, 10-0. All right. Hey, we're on page 2 of the agenda. We may get out of here by midnight.
That's the one that.
Yeah, this is 10 gonna change then?
Yeah.
So we're gonna leave that until we
Read
get
the,
to here. Okay. Let's postpone action on 10. Oh, no, we can do it now, right? Which one? Uncas, okay. So I'm gonna replace do you have a copy of this?
The motion list thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, the one for Uncas we're doing. So we're gonna do the Uncas motion for authorizations to award. Make a motion to authorize O&G Industries to issue contracts for the Uncas Elementary School State Prep. Agreement number 104-0120N for the following bid packages. Audra here. Bid package 2.04 masonry to AMI Boston Masonry for a contract amount of $1,994,000. Bid package 2.05M miscellaneous metals to Steel Tech Building Products for a contract amount of $1,195,000. Bid package 2.06 millwork to NEIS Collective for a contract amount of $1,228,006. I'm gonna need a drink after this. Bid package 2.07. I'm reading this for the record here, just so everyone understands. Bid package 2.07A damp proofing air barriers and caulking to Armani Restoration for a contract amount of $347,000. Bid package 2.07R roofing to Silktown Roofing, base bid amount of $1,341,500 and alternate for a bid amount of $50,300 for a contract amount of $1,391,800. Bid package 2.08 aluminum windows, storefronts and metal panels to Accurate Door and Window, base bid amount $2,393,400 and alternate for bid amount of $104,260 for a contract amount of $2,497,660. Bid package 2.09D drywall to Century Drywall for a contract amount of $3,746,350. Bid package, thank you, brownie points. Bid package 2.09F flooring to M. Frank Higgins for a contract amount of $1,817,891. Bid package 2.09P painting to Mackenzie Services Corp. for a contract amount of $347,755, rejecting alternate for to add paint to roof screen structural steel.
So moved.
Hang on, I got three more. Bid package 2.09T tiling to R&B ceramic tile for a contract amount of $776,500. Bid package 2.28F fire alarm to W.C. McBride Electrical for a contract amount of $528,000. Bid package 2.28S security to Anderson Electric for a contract amount of $554,400. And thank God I remember my glasses. Could I get such a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion by Sheila Hayes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mark Poulos. Any discussion?
No, this is all what he.
This is what he went over already and stuff, but if anyone's got any other
All those-
questions, I'll ask.
All those values that you just heard Mark read would be the value in the far right column for those trade packages.
I just want to note that the printed agenda that we got did not include all those.
Correct. So the motion I just read replaces number 10. Adds on to, obviously adds on to this. So,
Amendment.
which is why I read it. Yeah.
Number 10.
Yeah.
in the original.
Right. So, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. Greg Bellassi,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Mark Poulos,
Yes.
Bill Hull,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Sheila,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
and me, myself. Yes, 10-0. All right. Ready to do this again. All right.
That's what I keep saying.
Yeah, well, you're rocking and rolling here. Discussion and possible rejection of alternate 2 for the digital signage and alternate 3 for cast in place curbing and move curbing and alternate 5 and 6 for building management controls by Dietrich and Johnson in lieu of Allard and Compass for State Project 104-0121 and John M. Moriarty School
So moved.
by Sheila Hayes. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mark Poulos. Any discussion? Again, this is a motion that rejects the alternate.
So a yes vote is.
The
a
yes vote is
rejection.
to reject. All right. Hearing no discussion, Greg Velocity,
Yes.
Mark Pulo,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Sheila,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Zetta,
Yes.
and myself, yes. 10-0. Okay. Item 12. Are we okay with this one?
Yes.
All right, discussion and possible acceptance, alternate four to add roof screening for state project 104-0121 and John M. Moriarty for the Moriarty School project with a total cost of $251,309 with a breakdown as follows. BP 205S structural steel in the amount of $130,184. BP 207R roofing in the amount of $36,000. And BP 2.08 aluminum windows, storefronts, and metal panels in the amount of $85,125. Is there such a motion?
So,
By Sheila Hayes, is there a
And
second?
second.
Second by Mark Poulos. Any discussion? Hearing none. Greg Belas,
Yes.
Cindy,
yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Bill, yes, Joe,
Yes.
Sheila,
Yes.
Pete, Peter,
Yes.
Zotto,
Yes.
myself, yes, 10-0. Oh, what fun. Now 13, we got to go to the other one again, right?
Yes.
Okay. 13. Make a motion, it says, make sure I'm reading here, okay. I need a motion to authorize O&G Industries to issue contracts for Moriarty Elementary School. Now, just for the record, this is going to replace number 13 on the agenda. To Moriarty Elementary School State Project 104-0121 and for the following bid packages. Bid package 2.04 masonry to Gilberto and Sons LLC for a contract amount of $2,358,100. Bid package 2.05 and miscellaneous metals to L&P Gate Company for contract amount of $898,975. Bid package 2.06 millwork to NEIS Collective for contract amount of $1,228,714. Bid package 2.07A damp proofing, air barriers and caulking to Trinity Construction Group for a contract amount of $385,000. Bid package 2.07R roofing to Silktown Roofing, base bid amount of $1,658,400 and an alternate four bid amount of $36,000 for a contract amount of $1,694. $1,694,400. Bid package 2.08 aluminum windows, storefronts, and metal panels to Accurate Door and Windows. Base bid amount $1,893,975. And alternate four bid amount of $85,125 for a contract amount of $1,978,100. Bid package 2.09D drywall to Century Drywall for a contract amount of $3,831,400. Bid package 2.09F flooring to M. Frank Higgins for a contract amount of $1,928,941. Bid package 2.09P painting to Mackenzie Service Corp for a contract amount of $433,980. Rejecting alternate four to add paint to the roof screen structural steel. Bid package 2.09T tiling, to Atlantic Masonry Products for a contract amount of $746,795. Bid package 2.28F fire alarm to WC McBride Electrical for a contract amount of $495,000. And lastly, bid package 2.28S security to Anderson Electric for a contract amount of $589,450. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
By Sheila Hayes, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mark Poulos. Any other discussion on that?
You read all of them.
Yeah, I was waiting for somebody to do that. I was waiting for somebody to do that.
I can read them now in Portuguese.
Oh, God. This is my grandmother taught me like one sentence in Portuguese. All right, yes.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten there yet. So, that was the easy one. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Greg Velocity,
Yes.
Mark Kulos.
Yes.
Cindy,
Cindy, yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Sheila,
Yes.
Pete,
Yeah.
Peter,
Yes.
Zato,
Yes.
myself, yes. 10-0. All right.
Teachers.
All right, hang on now. We got 13. Are we good on that, or is that something we got?
13.
Oh, we did 13, okay.
Yeah.
All right, phase two projects, items impacting project costs.
For phase two projects, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right, there are two PCOs up for consideration, the same PCO for both. It's for adding breakers to the main distribution panel, and EDP is.
It's an electrical
Sub-panel.
Yeah, okay. And the rationale for this was when the bid packages went out to the bidding contractors, old information was provided that wasn't updated with current breakers. This is, so it's unbought scope from the bid period. And this is exactly why we have a contingency. The one for Moriarty was in the amount of $1,276, again, being paid out of the ONG construction contingency on the phase one GMP. And for Uncas, the value is $9,677, again, paid out of the phase one GMP for the early electrical procurement package.
So you're adding circuits to the construction?
No, actually, this is a mistake I made. The document set that I had in my file system was not updated with the latest information. So there was a series of breakers, about 5 breakers, that were 3 in the main distribution panel and 2 in a sub panel that weren't in the panel schedules, so they weren't in the bid documents. I straight up an oversight on my part. I carried the wrong sheet into what I put out to the public for bid. It was discovered at the time of submittal, and we then obtained pricing for it to bring them up to what was required and put into our phase 2 package. So that the 2 packages now marry perfectly.
So now you have breakers for a circuit
I have
instead of
breakers.
bare wires.
Instead of, yes. Yeah. I have breakers, and they're not small breakers.
And I'll note that this is coming out of ONG construction contingency.
It is,
So.
with sincere apologies.
Motion by, well, I want to break it by school for the,
Okay,
because of the grant.
motion to approve Moriarty POC.
PCO.
PCO, I'm sorry, it's hard to read.
Yeah.
001, to add the breakers to MVP and EDP sub panels for a cost of $8,276,000.
No, 8,000.
8,000, I'm sorry, 276.
Yeah, that would be.
They said it's hard to read it.
That's all right.
$8,276.
Okay, second by Mark Poulos. Any discussion? Hearing none. Greg Velocity,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Sheila,
Yes.
Pete, yes, Peter,
Yes.
Sato,
Yes.
me, yes, 10-0.
Since you're closer, you can.
How about I do the motion
Okay,
closer? So we make a motion to approve,
Uncas.
Uncas PCO 001 to add breakers to MVP and EDP sub panels in the amount of $9,677.
Is there such a, there's one motion, did I get a second? Second by Sheila. Any discussion?
Why is Uncas breakers $1,400?
Good question.
Fair question. It's really, I don't have an answer for it. They're just,
Same breaker, huh?
No, they're slightly different.
Different?
Yeah. Oh, you don't have the backup.
That's what the price, that's what the price they gave you was.
Yes, we did get breakdown and we did negotiate with Rexel in order to get those breakers as competitive as possible.
This was also, all these PCOs were reviewed by CSG and the DRA's electrical engineer, CES.
Anybody else with a question? Hearing none, Greg,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Bill, yes, Joe. Yes. Sheila,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Peter, yes, Zotto, yes, me, yes. 10-0. All right. These three. Phase 3 projects, teachers middle school and central office reports, ONG. Did you do that already or no?
No, he skipped
stopped.
over it. We
Yeah,
stopped, yeah.
okay. Now, let me, back.
Now he's getting.
Is that the water? Yeah.
Hey, you heard that we did the estimate. We went through the process, our estimators as well as our equipment procurement people went out to the street, got all sorts of information. We held a meeting with Tarbell Construction Management as a representative of ERA. We reconciled our estimates. The two estimates upon reconciliation fell within 0.8% on construction costs. So I'll flip through what I shared with you all, are just the summary pages. What we shared electronically is not just the first 4 pages, but also the detail for all the subdivisions of the scopes of work. So similar to previous estimates you've seen for us, here you have on the screen the cover page, the table of contents, and the summary. So this is our summary sheet. As a refresher, we break down our work as site development. Again, numbers all supported through sheets that are beyond the ones that you have in by hand. But if you want to review them digitally, you can get the backup to see where that dollar value was generated from. Site work, abatement, demolition, and then the big number, which is the building trade costs. One item to note in the building trade cost is you note the gross square footage of 83,400. So there's our cost of the construction side, the sub-trade bid results, so to speak. We would have 56,267,000. Our difference between Tarbell's number and ourselves, Tarbell was $462,000 lower for 0.8%. So really a tight estimate reconciliation. As we went through this process, 2-day event where we do the reconciliation, we go back to our numbers, we check our takeoffs. Very pleased with where those numbers fell and have high confidence in what those trade contractor costs are. What I'd like to draw to your attention is the design contingency line item, middle of the page. You see that value at 7%. I just wanted to mention that Tarbell Construction Management was not comfortable with 7%. Typically at a DD stage, you're 8%, 9%. His estimate, he left at 8%. So his number was about 400,000 more than ours based on that.
Where did 7% come from?
That's where, that comes from our estimator, our senior estimator and the head of the department sit back and say, what's the quality level? What do we not know yet? A design contingency is a number for what's going to get pulled into the documents that we can't quantify at the time of doing the estimate. So we carry in this case, 7%. We'll get to DD and we'll do sometimes 4%, sometimes 4.5%. And then when we get to CDs, there's no more design contingency. It's a hard number based on the documents. So the other variable number here is escalation. And opposingly, ONG's escalation number is higher than Tarbell's. I just mentioned that Tarbell had a higher contingency. Our escalation number was higher by roughly the same figure. So that when you get to the bottom line of the estimate overall, the values were again very, very close. We were within 1% in the hard construction cost and within $100,000 between the two escalation and contingency numbers. When you get to the bottom of the page is where the where the rubber meets the road, for lack of another term. So what we do is we add our percentage fees and insurance and P&P bond. Then we add the values provided to us for the soft costs that CSG is carrying for such things as architectural design, FF&E, owner's contingency. Some of the site inspection costs are in that other line item. And you get to the bottom line, which reads 80,353,000. So then where Mike had earlier mentioned, that target is not where the state number was. That's not where the grant amount was. So that's where our overage is at the time of SD. Okay, we're early enough in the stage that we're working now. The level of effort now to drive that number down is the process, what we call value management. So going beyond this page, you see an $11 million item. This is just a summary of the items that we provided through conversation and meetings with CSG and DRA on where we can save some money. And just to give you where we're at in our efforts to look at the project and save some dollars. The first one is the larger task at hand. CSG as well as DRA. Mostly DRA is looking at ways to tighten up spaces, lose a little square footage. So we have an 83,000 square foot building. Through their efforts, they're looking at trying to reduce that by roughly 5,800 square feet. Maybe more, maybe less, but those are straight, construction cost numbers that will drive the project down. Other items that we look to save dollars on the project in the site work, just some examples with similar situation, bituminous curbs in lieu of concrete curbs, security bollards. We may or may not be able to lose some of those as far as quantities go. Not much insight. Access to the project is a big one for us. Where we and how we construct our laydown areas, we're looking at ways to mitigate cost in there. But grand total there, we're looking at, potential savings, probably not as much. On my rough draft here, I had over 700K, but, we're conservative in what we want to present here. We don't itemize for you because they're really just broad brush items, like under the exterior. We're looking at losing some brick in some areas, replacing it with different materials, reducing overall size of aluminum storefront and curtain wall. Is there a way to just shrink the amount of glass? Glass is more expensive than brick and drywall stud backup. Making the mechanical screens and add alternate, similar to what you did on your phase 1 and phase 2. And similarly, in all the interiors, I have another 10 items on the interior. And then we have items related to MEP. Again, the effort here is to get to a number, the best value that still meets the program needs of what you're embarking on. So at this point in time, we've looked at and come up with about $5.5 million. Where we're at today will be another estimate done at DD. DRA is incorporating their work in what is their next set of documents that we'll be receiving at the end of June. Let's see, other teachers' updates that I had. That's really, we're just working, supporting their efforts if they need information in pricing for various design decisions. And now we're getting closer to developing a schedule to track all those important critical milestones that have to be put in place in order to be ready to go to the state in December. That's what we're doing with teachers. Any questions?
Quick question. So you mentioned that you're looking at reducing your total square footage. Is that going to have an impact? Because there's a difference between Kelly and teachers as far as overall school population. So is it going to have an impact on that difference? Because teachers is going to be smaller than Kelly significantly.
I'm not familiar with Kelly. But to the process of where the square footage is reduced areas, that's the effort that CSG has been meeting with various staff.
We have a, enrollment so that's not going to be. The enrollment is supposed to go on. Just had some creep in some certain areas, square footage that we're addressing.
Yeah, yeah, Kelly and teachers have already been redistricted, so they're at the size they're gonna stay. So the students that needed to be moved to Kelly have been moved already.
So is that increase in square footage programs that were added? Or classroom sizes changed?
There were 3 classrooms that were added. There were.
For what purpose? Do you know?
What's that?
I can answer that. When we did the original program for the Ed Specs, there was only, I believe it was only 1 science classroom per grade. After we went through the program statement, 1 science classroom per grade, and some of the classrooms shared among teachers, as part of the program. When we then went into the programming building, it was determined that they needed more classrooms and classrooms could not be shared. One of the other areas was a school-based health center wasn't included in the original program statement. We had a school-based health center at the elementary schools, at all the other elementary schools. I believe Kelly has a school-based health center, so a school-based health center. Also, the kitchen square footage from the original program statement, not in alignment with the other square footage that was used at the elementary schools. And speaking with the food service operator from the district, the kitchen needed to be a little larger, so we added some square footage back to the kitchen. That accounts for about half of it, of the square foot overage. The other square foot overage is a direct result of either, additional bathrooms that were added based on the layout and configuration of the building. And short of that, I would defer to Jim as to other overages from program saving square footages that were delineated as part of the design, which can happen at times.
So much of it, I think you tag the areas where the original program statement did not carry 3 classrooms, which were indicated as needed. The school-based health center needs to be included, or at least that's an area where a shift was made from the original program document. And then lastly, as Mike mentioned, the kitchen growth. We are looking, and it's as we have on every one of the buildings. We look at, are we being as efficient as we can with order? Are we being as efficient as we can with size of buildings? The document that's bid is a schematic design document. Our job at that time is to get adjacency scope, basically a first blush at it. We're typically a little bit fat. We're more than a little bit here, but I think much of that's driven by the add to the program statement. It'll be a combination effort where we're looking at quality, and already when you think quality, you don't want to lower it. I appreciate that, but there was a value management done on phase 1. It was adopted in phase 2. We took many of those kind of lessons learned and we incorporated them already. There isn't a lot there, but as is being indicated by OMG, we're looking hard. We're trying to get to as many things. And Dan was out walking the site today, trying to confirm, can we save a little more on one issue, as an example. It's quantity. It's how do we get square feet down, but still deliver a building that can do the job.
Right, I mean, that was what I was asking, you've answered the question for me, so I understand. Okay.
The square footage added is not insignificant. It's 11,600 square feet over at approximately $1,000 a square foot, that comes to be $11 million.
Not quite, but that's.
It's pretty close.
Pretty close. It's a little more involved than that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but it's because things got out, I mean,
Yeah.
that's, I mean. but-
Well, actually, don't forget, I mean, Thierry's been meeting with staff and stuff all through this process and stuff, and this was built of, based on the input and whatever. Now we come up with the hard numbers and now it's, we kind of got to do some more work. So just the way it is. So, and I trust that obviously that the staff at Norwich Public Schools are going to be involved with this process along the way. And we'll find something that'll work to do the job, because otherwise why do it?
Yeah, just
Jim?
Thank you, Mark. I was just gonna say, if I could underscore that as fully as possible. The Norwich Public Schools have been great to work with throughout this process, and it's both the times where it's good and it's a little rough.
Yeah.
This is a little rough, and they stand right in there and
Well, I found them all to be reasonable people in general, so it's, they certainly understand what some of the challenges are.
If I can just add to it, we learned about this recently, and we have literally been working on this every single day. Sometimes separately, and then sometimes half the team and then the whole team together. So when Jim says there's some stuff that this has been a challenge, we acknowledge it's been a big challenge, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, Susan, when I heard about this initially, I don't know, a week or two ago, I was, a little panic stricken. So, but we'll, like I said, I certainly have all the faith in the world in you and your staff. So I believe we'll get to something that works.
I think it helps that we've been working as a team since I stepped in September 19th, 2023 with everyone. And I think we know each other pretty well. And I think that helps with this hard time right now as well.
Good. No, I think you're right. Obviously.
Regardless of whether it's on the square footage, is there any implication there for the age of the person?
Ultimately, we'll have to refile for the grant application if it's higher, no?
we wouldn't have to refile the grant application. Any overage over the original grant application budget of $69,367,713. The state allows you one opportunity to revise a grant application.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we already will have to do that for the Greenbelt project,
Right.
due to that overage.
Yeah.
The hope here is that we can eventually get to the, and I can't guarantee that until all this is flushed out. The target would be to get to 69,367,713. If we possibly can, it may not be reachable, but in the event that it's not reachable, we would then have to go for the revised grant application
But yeah, what needs to
reimbursement. To
Yeah,
answer your
so
question.
obviously, I mean, there's a reason why we have some project contingency too. So obviously, not that I want to use it, but if we have to, we have to.
And a science classroom is just not a regular,
Oh, okay.
a science classroom is not a regular sized classroom. I mean, it's got lab tables in it. It's easily twice or 2.5 times the size of a normal classroom.
That's not Jack.
No,
No,
high school maybe, but not middle school.
you're right about the furnishings, the size, it's
The
not.
size is approximately the same or a little bigger.
It is the same.
Oh, it is the same.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right. Anything else on that, on this issue?
We don't have to go there anymore.
You don't have to vote on anything on that. All right. All right. Consent agenda. Could I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, please? So moved by Bill Hull. Second by Sheila Hayes. Got all in favor again. All in favor, Craig?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Sheila?
Yes,
Peter? Yes. Bono? Yes. Myself, yes, 10-0. Yeehaw. All right. Anything else to be brought before the committee? I will note, Greg called me today, and I know that you talked to Mike already about some Moriarty.
I think
About-
it'll be all set once the rain goes through. I think I was just being a little oversensitive to a fear of kids twisting their ankles, but I think the ground will be all right.
Yeah, you think so? Okay, well,
I think I want to wait for a good rainstorm, and we're due for one. So, and let's not add any more costs. Again, I was just concerned about twisted ankles in a spot that probably it won't matter. So, I'll get back to you.
All right, yeah, no, if there's any need there or whatever, just let us know and we'll do what we gotta do. If it's a potentially, it's all right. Because Greg knows, I trust his judgment.
I walked it about 2 weeks ago. It seemed okay. It was just one of those I wonder if, but let's see what happens with the rain.
Okay, all right. All right, let's go. So is there anything else we gotta do? There was one other thing.
I think it was the placard discussion.
can we have them, can you just send them for us to look at?
Well,
We have to order them.
they're going to need to be ordered. Generally, I think it's a good idea to at least get the context of what we're looking for here.
So just quickly, Mike asked me to share something that I believe we sent through Tim from CSG to kind of get talking about, but this is a sample of our Middleborough High School. One sample where town logo only, the listing of the chairman of the committee, the school committee chairperson, superintendent of schools, principal of the school, then the building committee. They also listed former committee members. And then beneath that, the construction team, architect, contractor, owner's rep. Middleborough has a statement at the end thanking the voters, thanking the taxpayers, et cetera. So that's a sample. The only difference between that one and option 2 is they use both the school logo and the town logo. And then
high school logo too.
yeah, this is a high school. Also, there's a seal that the community has for the school district. That was another consideration. And then lastly, this is our Pleasant Valley project. They only incorporated the current building commission. Same setup with chairman of Board of Ed, superintendent of schools, and then the construction team at the bottom. They utilize the town seal only. So just a couple samples to get you thinking about it, but I guess key issues would be disposition relative to who wants to be listed, who this committee wishes to have listed as part of this. Any thoughts on kind of logo or that? And then if in fact inclusion, on the Pleasant Valley, no kind of additional statement or thanking as part of it. Just a couple examples. We have others. But
when do we have to make a decision? What's the lead time of one of these things?
For Stanton,
That's what I'm talking about.
we have to begin at least getting two things. One, ideas around who wants to be listed, who do you want to list? And then secondly, a roster of those names so that we can begin laying this out specifically for Norwich. And it does have to begin kind of in the next week or so. It'd be great, or a couple of weeks to get started. That's all I'm saying. And any other thoughts?
Before it gets sent out,
Excuse me?
will we see a proof?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This is not my favorite part of any job. Because spelling of names, it has to go through, and we basically ask each committee member to sign off on their name. whoever else is listed, somebody has to take responsibility for those names as they're listed. Nicknames are sometimes allowed, other times they're not. Middle initials are allowed sometimes, other times they're not. That's your call all the way. And once we have our rules of the road, we'll implement them. But yeah, it's gonna come back to you because it's the toughest part of the job sometimes.
Does it have to be done this year or next year when we're doing the redistricting for all 4 schools at once?
Well, that's your call, Stanton. Typically, we have a location within the building where we will put the dedication plaque. It's near the main entrance point. It's actually another, we'll get to that at some other point, but that's the question on the table today.
I mean, we've got,
Redistricting isn't going to affect
yeah,
this at all. If you want it put up in Stanton before towns,
we have the one at Kelly that
Yeah.
was done recently. I don't know, for consistency's sake, do you want to do the same kind of style?
When we look at, I mean, I don't.
I
can see a picture.
I can get a photo of the Kelly.
Right.
tomorrow.
I think 3 is the closest to what Kelly.
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Well, no, it's, I think it's more, I don't think we listed former committee members, but we had a broad brush with the committee members because we had people on and off as city.
Well, not just that, but I think, isn't the council listed in that?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, probably.
I did think that the blurb at the bottom there.
And maybe the Board of Ed.
Thanking the
It's a big-
taxpayers.
yeah,
big
Nice
flag.
touch. I haven't seen that.
Big flag.
And I'm not sure we need,
Tiny site.
I'm not sure we need the statement on the bottom.
Yeah,
thanking the
no.
taxpayers,
Well,
although they are a vital part of this.
just for more thought, in Stonington, the state was, schools were dedicated to children, to students in this.
Let's take Mike, let's take the new one,
Yeah.
because there's 2 up there because we did a renovation, so.
Yeah, I'll take a picture of the new one. And then
Yes.
I'll get this and send this out.
It's in the old one too, if you think it's relevant.
Yeah, I can get pictures of any of them, so.
All right, good enough. And we'll get some thoughts online.
And we'll let you break into Laurel Hill and take a picture.
Oh, good. All right, anything else for the committee? Motion to adjourn by Sheila Hayes. Is there a second? No second? Okay, we can't, no, Cindy. All in favor, Craig,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Bill? Yes. Joe? Sheila?
yeah.
Peter? Pete? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. 10-0. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I appreciate it.